It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
I want to play a game.
Hello, and welcome to the Sounds from the Grave podcast. My name is Yussef.
And my name is Vania.
And did you miss us?
Yeah, I know that we have been long gone, 6 feet deep down in the grave, and we are so sorry about that. But today we're gonna go in strong, and we are gonna be talking about Halloween Horror Nights and everything that's gonna be happening this year. I mean, because it is gonna be happening. It's not just a maybe.
That is true. Finally, we're going to be, having our horror nights the way we're used to it again. Hopefully. Yeah, but since we've been gone for quite a while, a lot of stuff has happened, and we need to kind of bring ourselves up to speed and bring everybody that's been like us, where they have been living under a rock, up to speed. So we figured, why not?
Yeah. So first off, I think we should start off with Halloween Horror Nights officially being announced and the date being on September 3rd. And the theme is called Halloween Horror Nights 30 and Never Go Alone. So this is probably like the first time I've actually seen them push up the date this much. I think this is the earliest that we've ever had it.
I think so too, yeah, because usually it's by maybe this third week of September? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be straight up the first week of September, wow. But at the same time, I'm like, good. More HHN.
Yeah, so I'm guessing since it's earlier, I'm guessing audition must have been much earlier and whatnot, and everything has. I guess the ball is going to be rolling now since it seems that it's going up to speed.
That's true. I'm curious to see, because I know you have a little bit more experience when it comes to the audition process. Do you think there might have been any changes to it because of the whole COVID stuff?
Yeah, so I think last year, I think I didn't do the audition last year, but I have been doing it for the past 3 years. But last year they had people actually said their say their name in a video, um, and basically questions answering a basic question, and talk about hobbies and all this other stuff, but it's mostly focusing on your athletic physique and whatnot. But yeah, I think they did it based on that. I don't know if this year was any different because I haven't actually auditioned. I don't think they opened up the auditions for the public yet, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it is still April, but that might be either about to be announced or going to be announced in the next few weeks or something.
Yeah, I know that they started doing auditions for the returning scare actors and team members at Universal.
Okay.
But I don't know how, because I know that a whole bunch of the friends in the HHN community got their casting email this week. So congratulations to all of you guys who have gotten in this year. I know I'm super happy for all of you guys that have been, casted for this year, and it should be super exciting, and you guys deserve it, and you guys are going to have a great time. And yeah, so I think it's just returning scare actors and team members, but I don't think the public one has opened up yet.
Okay, got it. But yeah, we definitely got to talk about the tagline for this year because I think we're both in agreement. We're not a huge fan of this tagline.
Yeah, the tagline is "Never Go Alone." So it looks a little bit slapped on there with a little bit of a caution tape, if you know what I mean. It
Yeah.
has this red caution tape that, and I don't know, it just seems so, I don't know, it just slapped. It just seems like it was okay, since we couldn't have a proper 30, here's it's like they were covering something up with the caution tape because it was almost like a revamped version. I'm not feeling it too much, but
Yeah,
Hopefully.
it sounds kind of like backyard haunted house type stuff
Yeah.
to me.
I mean, we already know that you don't go to Howling Horror Nights alone, but I know that there's some people
Exactly.
who do, but like, you know, but it's just me. I think that it's a little bit cheesy, a little bit slapped
Mhm.
on there, but I'm not a big fan of it, but we'll see where the theme goes this year.
Yeah, and I mean that's pretty much outside of like some of the house announcements. That's that, and the tagline is really all we have to go on right now.
Yeah, so there's not really much that we can really go into
hmm
because there's still announcements that need to be made for at least Howling Horror Nights Orlando. I know that today they had a whole bunch of Howling Horror Nights Hollywood leaked houses today.
Ooh,
Um,
wow.
from their map today. So according to people, it's official, but I don't know how official it is for them yet. Like because
Mhm.
Universal hasn't confirmed it. But yeah, so they I feel like they have a way more information than we do, but all we have is the speculation maps for now.
Okay, which I mean, I haven't really paid much attention to the spec maps this year, but in past years when I do pay attention to them, they're always fun because I always like to see where people are theorizing as to what might come in and just like see people just debate that and be like, oh, maybe this would work, maybe that wouldn't work. They could have this, they could have that.
Yeah, I feel like Horror Night Nightmares. I feel like they make like such a good job being able to pinpoint what comes in the following years. Like they make up to like what sometimes even five speculation maps. I think that's how many we had last year, but I don't
Mm,
know with like everything being almost set in stone from last year. I don't know how much more they can make. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and I mean they also pay attention to like the stuff that we've had before, um, newer horror stuff that's really popular right now that would work well in terms of popularity and with that kind of stuff. I think they do. They tend to combine everything and get good ideas out of that.
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. So yeah, we are also going to go into also our little theories before we go into our little our thoughts on the speculation map that recently just got put out. We are going to go into the tribute store, our thoughts on what could be happening of the tribute store. So I think a couple of like months ago, they did, one of our friends posted a picture of like the banners that was in the tribute store last year, which was 30 Years of Fear. And it has like Jack, caretaker, the director, Usher, just basically everybody. That iconic banners that were in that icon room that was literally like orangey and Halloweeny, and it was amazing. And they actually had it up for sale at the prop shop at Universal only on the weekends, but I did go recently and they were all sold out.
Oh, that is whoever bought those are people or whoever bought all of them is a lucky son of a gun because I would kill to have those.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
So the 30 Years of Fear one, I think that one was close to $1,400. So
Whoa,
yeah,
crazy because
the
that's actually
limited
more
one
than
is that much.
it is literally more than what I paid for my first car.
Yeah, and but it has all the icons on it, so I understand. I
Yeah.
think the smaller ones were a little bit in the 900s
Mm.
kind of thing. I assume Jack was a little bit more.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Um,
yeah, without question, I'm sure he was.
Yeah, so like it makes us wonder what could be potentially coming to the tribute store because a lot of people. I did take a poll on my Twitter, HHN Cultist. If you guys are following me on there, that I did ask people what could happen to the tribute store because a lot of people said that they might just make it the same because it's the 30th anniversary, like there's not much that they can really change because like it's the 30th anniversary. We're waiting on the icons. We're
Yeah.
expecting all of that kind of stuff. But since they removed like essential pieces, I wonder. It makes me wonder if they're going to make another um, icons related room, or if they're just going to scrap that idea altogether. What do you think, Yusuf?
I'm thinking that because they are moving these big pieces, that I think they're just gearing up to do a brand new look for the tribute store. Obviously, still going to be icon related, but maybe just like a different vibe, different style to it. Like, after I saw the pictures and just like kind of formulating and not even like just thinking about the spec map too, something that I think would be a really cool idea is um, actually going inside a Fierce Lantern, and like the tribute store would be the lantern.
Yeah, that would be so freaking cool if we can actually see something like that at the tribute store. I thought there
Yeah,
was like some Easter eggs in the tribute store last year with the icons. I know
I'm
there was like
pretty
a
sure there
whole
were.
bunch. Yeah. I know there was Bloody Mary's mirror, even though she
Yeah.
wasn't essentially mentioned there. There was a little lantern that had Chance's makeup on it. And yeah, I think there was like a Lady Luck somewhere in there, but I
Hmm.
could be wrong.
I
Could
will
be
say
wrong.
this: I will forever and dearly miss the Beetlejuice room if it doesn't come back.
Oh, I think it is gonna come back because if you guys haven't been to Universal Studios lately with them during their Mardi Gras, you guys know that it's kind of like a really like a Caribbean kind of pirate theme for Mardi Gras. It was a little weird, but it seems like it worked out really well for them because it seems like Mardi Gras made a lot of money for them this year. Especially they extended Mardi Gras 2 times this year, so
I did see that. Yeah,
yeah, they extended it to April, then they extended it to May. So May 2nd is their last
I
day.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So besides that, they had that room that Beetlejuice was in, and they do have the book of the recently deceased in
Okay.
that area where all the pastries are this year for Mardi Gras, but of course for Beetlejuice it was the Beetlejuice room. So I think Beetlejuice is the tribute store is gonna come back, but I feel like it might have a different look to it, just a little
Mhm.
bit, but there might keep like most of the props and stuff for it. But
Yeah.
for me, it's mostly the bride room and the icons room that I'm just wondering what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I'm thinking those are going to be the ones that are going to have some kind of overhaul or just some changes. I do think, however, that like that opening room with like the bride and the monster, I don't think that might change too much. Hopefully, because we do still get the Bride of Frankenstein house, and I would just like to see that section of it stay relatively the same.
Yeah. Um, this is just me being just a little kind of not biased. I would love to see Bride of Frankenstein come back, of course, but it would be also cool if like they could do like a tooth fairy area in the tribute store. That's the thing. I get a lot of crap for like, Tooth Fairy not being a great house. And even if it was a great house, like it's just a plexiglass that kills it for people. But like I do think that the Bride of Frankenstein room might come back, but like of course they're just gonna try and change things up because mind you that we didn't get really a full blown event. They had to remove a lot of elements, not only from their houses, but their tribute store as well. So I'm guessing
Yeah,
they're just going to be adding more stuff to the tribute store that they couldn't add the year before, if that would make sense.
yeah. So I'm already getting like my wallet ready because I know it's gonna hurt.
Also, I forgot to mention that they also received the preview of the brand new Beetlejuice merch, something completely different than what we had last year. And it looks absolutely amazing. And it does look a little bit different than what we received last year, but it's more, I feel like it's more of a Tim Burton whimsical type of look. If, like, have you seen the merch, Yusuf?
I saw some of the pictures of it, and I immediately fell in love with the sweater that makes it look like you're wearing the suit.
Yeah, that was so
because
cool.
I had the one that they had, I think 2 maybe 3 years ago. That was like Chucky's little overalls, and it
Yeah.
looked to be the same material. And I'm like, that is like extremely comfortable like sweater.
Mm-hmm.
It's very comfy when it comes to like walking around in the hot weather for horror nights. And I'm like, I need that as soon as I can get one. I need one.
Yeah. Even though, like you guys, if you guys have been to Halloween Horror Nights, like the weather is unpredictable on Halloween Horror Nights. It's either
Yeah,
too freaking hot or too freaking cold. There's no in between.
or it's raining.
Oh yeah, or it's
That's
raining.
how it. Oh
The
my god, that's
worst.
usually how it is on like the first week and a half. It's always rainy, and I'm just like, this is the worst.
Yeah. But but yeah, I heard that the new merchandise for Beetlejuice sold out like hotcakes. The only thing that
Yeah,
I did see that was still there when I went over, even though I don't know if this is a part of the little promotion that they had for Halloween Horror Nights, was the Beetlejuice Lounge Fly purse,
I
which
did see
is
those too. Yeah.
yeah, like it's with the snake on it.
Hmm.
But yeah, but those are the only things that I still saw in stock when I went there. But yeah, I heard that those things just flew off the shelves like
I mean, I
no
don't.
one's
I
business.
was completely expecting that, especially when it's just like, oh, it's a preview. You're like, oh, I need this.
Yeah, so hopefully, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's gonna come back for the event. It has to come back,
Oh yeah,
it
it
wouldn't
has
make
to.
sense. Mm-hmm. So, it's there's just a lot of like stuff going on at Halloween Horror Nights, and I'm like super excited. But like there's a part of me that's like I wonder how much they're gonna keep from last year or from the lineup.
Hmm.
So we would have to go travel along to our little speculation map.
Heck
Or
yeah, we do.
yeah. So in the speculation map, we have 10 houses. Nothing has been added on to it and whatnot. As in like 11th house, because Universal tends to like add houses during anniversaries, but not during this year. But we can start off with our first one, Bride of Frankenstein Lives. What are your thoughts of this potentially coming back?
Oh, this is not a potentially coming back. This like needs to come back for sure
Yeah, I think
because
so too.
like obviously we got to see it, but we got to see it with like the plexiglass with like all the restrictions, and like you can tell that it's already a great house, but it's going to be an amazing house without all that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. That's the thing though. I don't think the plexiglass is gonna completely go away.
It might
But
not.
it's
I
gonna
did hear rumors that they were going to take the plexiglass away, but they were still going to keep the actors wearing masks.
that I mean that would make sense though.
Yeah, because it's not like they like stand close to you for like 2 or 3 seconds. They just like jump out, do a thing, and then go back. So it's not like they're all up in your personal space for an extended period of time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean that could work. I mean, not that the plexiglass ever took away from Bride of
Oh
Frankenstein.
no, it definitely didn't.
Mm-hmm. Because I would love to see this iconic house come back, and especially with Bride, and just quoting the end of that house is literally my favorite, and the energy is so good.
Oh yeah.
So for sure, like I would love to see Bride of Frankenstein Lives come back, and hopefully with that we get some type of like a preview at the
Hmm.
end of the season, because it seems like our little sea monster is still creeping around that house. So it seems like we might potentially also get a the creature house in the future.
That would be really cool. Yeah, but yeah, like I really want to go back. I want to go just like see through those broken bricks and see the castle breaking down again, and like seeing the bride try to lift that beam again, seeing the vampires being bled out for like that ritual. Just like wow, just like everything in that house to me was just iconic.
Yeah, for me, it's Bride and her iconic fit, her
Like I just
energy,
need to experience that
everything.
again.
But of course, everybody's favorite, the assistant. You mustn't disturb the master.
She was a queen.
Yeah, I feel like everybody like there was a lot bigger energy for the assistant sometimes rather than bride, but I like them both the same. So
Mhm.
amazing, both queens. So the next one, I'm crying. The next one is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. As you guys remember, Texas Chainsaw Massacre House premiered in Howling Horror Nights 26. So that is also a surprise that this is still on the list. I mean, it's not still on the list. It's just that it's been in and out of the list for like a long time. What are your thoughts?
So for me, this is I'm a little biased on this because I never went to 26 because I just went through personal stuff. So I
That
never went
makes
to
sense.
26. Uh, so I never got to experience Texas Chainsaw, and I'm very regretful that I got to miss out on that because Texas Chainsaw is my favorite horror movie, and if they do bring this back, I would be the happiest person alive. Now that does come with a double-edged sword because just based on that, if they do bring it back, I have no idea if they're going to bring back the original like 1974 version or if they're going to do the remake like 2003 version. And then the problem with that as well being, the 1974 version isn't that house isn't that old. It's only it was only for 26, so I think it's still pretty recent.
Mm-hmm.
But that could change because I think it was for 25. They brought back American Werewolf in London, and it had only been like 2 years old at the time. So who knows?
Yeah. For me, I definitely went to Howling Horror Nights 26 and I got to experience Texas Chainsaw Massacre. For me, it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a bit short. For me, I felt like it was a bit short, a bit rushed. But based on the original, of course. But it wasn't as enjoyable because I felt like it was short. So
Hmm.
but I also did go when it was like not busy and there was like not people in front of us, and I just kind of like zoomed in through the like the house like so quickly. But I could be wrong. I mean, I'm willing to give it another shot, but it's just really weird to see them bring back Texas Chainsaw Massacre out of all the houses that they could potentially bring back.
Hmm.
Um, Nothing against it. I mean, if you may ask me, I know that they did do a Chucky scare zone, and they did on my first year. No, it was ripped from the silver screen. Ripped from the silver screen. They did have a Chucky house, so I
Hmm.
would actually want to see the Child's Play house come back.
That would be really cool too. Yeah, I would love to like a scene in there where you're walking through the good guys like doll factory.
Yeah, I wish they would come like do something Chucky again, but not a big fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre as in the movie. I mean I do like it, but it's like not one of my favorite up there. I'm definitely like more of a Child's Play and Friday the 13th fan, but for those fans out there, if you guys are wishing for this house and if you're like Yusef that didn't have the chance to experience it in 26, hopefully this comes true for you guys and hopefully it's a lot better than the year on 26.
Yeah. Ooh, but before we go on, since we were mentioning Child's Play,
Mhm.
random idea for a Child's Play house. We go through all of the movies.
Yeah, that would be
So like
so
we go from the
cool.
original Child's Play up until Cult of Chucky.
Yeah, oh my
Like,
god,
that
that
would
would
be
be so
really really
freaking
cool.
cool. uh and the one day hopefully they will listen to our prayers and just do it.
Universal, if you're listening, please do this.
Please.
We beg you. Give us the
So
power. We beg of you.
give us the power we beg of you. Abredule dabala. All right. Sorry, we're being nerds. I'm sorry, Universal. Sorry. Um, so the next one we are going to be talking about is, of course, Revenge of the Tooth Fairy. As you guys already know, I will say it through and through. I liked this house. I genuinely enjoyed it. I get it. The plexiglass hurt it. You know, it's but in the storyline is a little bit confusing, but I always enjoyed the scary tale vibes, and of course, I love little mystical, gremlin looking people that want to pull on my teeth because I didn't want to give them my tooth. It's great. I love them. Like I wouldn't mind seeing Revenge of the Tooth Fairy come back, honestly, especially if we're going to be removing the plexiglass. I feel like it's going to up the tempo a bit more, up the energy, and the fact that I feel like it's been wronged so much for the plexiglass, and I feel like it could do a comeback.
See, for me, I would not mind if it came back, but I feel like it needs retooling, like outside of the plexiglass, outside of those restrictions, just like vibe wise, it needs some extra work. Like one of the last episodes that we had done, or I think we did it with Jonathan for Hung Up on Theme Parks. Um, we were talking about we were kind of hoping for more of like the tooth aspect of like the when you go into the tooth fairy like world, it's just teeth everywhere, just like weird, creepy stuff with teeth instead of just like what looks like just underground tunnels. And we're like, yeah, that's a little disappointing. Like we wanted to like really play up the tooth angle of it, like the teeth and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I get you, but I feel like for me the concept of being able to torture people in different ways using their teeth is kind of like, because it's like Revenge of the Tooth Fairy. If it was like something that it's had to be like, oh, the realm of the Tooth Fairy, like if they ever decide to make like a second part,
Mm.
Universal, please, then I feel like we should be able to see like all those transformed children that turned into Tooth Fairies themselves, join, like see the Tooth Fairy realm and all this other stuff. But since it's more like a revenge story, I feel like this is more like an origin story more than anything.
Mm. Okay.
I mean, that's just a different way of thinking, at least for me, especially considering the title and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just hear Jonathan. I can just hear him.
You
What
can hear the best bubbling.
So the next one we are going to be talking about is HHN icons captured. So this is the little rumor that we've been hearing literally all of last year, where like if you peek through one of the curtains in Tooth Fairy, you just see um whatchamacallit, what's his name? Oh shit.
Here.
Um, Fears. I almost said nightmare. Here I am thinking Soul Calibur. Sorry, I'm a nerd, guys. Yeah. So Fears, lantern, and you see like the beginning part of the house for HHN icons captured. I would be very interested to see what this one is all about. I'm guessing that the icons are trapped in some shape or form
Mhm.
in Fear's lantern, and they're breaking free, because it's the 30th year, that kind of thing. But I would be very interested to see what they actually do with this house. What do you think?
Yeah, something that I would actually be really interested in seeing is if you're going into the lantern and you're going to be seeing these icons inside the lantern. I think it would be kind of cool if this was their version of their underworld, so like they're facing their biggest fears.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, like Jack could be facing that moment when Oddfellow betrayed him, like over and over again,
Yeah.
and then the Usher could be facing the moment where he died by hanging, like over and over again. Like that's their version of purgatory, and like that's why they want to break free so bad.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be really cool.
I'm guessing, going by the title, it would be fitting if they did that, but I feel like Universal might not even. Maybe this is just my way of thinking. May not even go that route because, like,
Mhm.
they're just trying to scare us. No, well, not scare us, but deliver a good story while trying to scare us. But
Yeah,
like, I don't think they would ever want to see their characters like in a vulnerable position.
that's true. Yeah, they wouldn't want them to look weak.
Yeah. So like even though like it says it all in the title, like I don't think they would unless it's something of the sort where they're like they were captured once and then they broke free and then they're just like how we started with like all the other icons including Jack, and then we just see him like with like throughout the years as he as we see him in the Jack in the Box, like escaping through and through the different outfit changes of
Yeah.
the different stages of each year. Then there's like a storyteller, and then there is everybody else like just breaking free and then coming back for like such another landmark in Howling Horror Nights history.
Yeah, I think my second theory to that would be kind of like they're gonna use us to escape from the lantern, like kind of
Yeah,
like a soul for a soul, like one of you, like I get to go free, but you have to stay in the lantern type thing.
yeah, I can see that. I can
Like that would
definitely
be cool.
see
Like
that,
they have to
especially
use
if we
you as
go
a
inside the
sacrifice.
lantern and we exit through the lantern.
Yeah, like they have to like they use you as a sacrifice so
Yeah,
they can escape.
and sacrifice us to fear. Sacrifice to daddy fear. Yeah, this is definitely something to think about, like with the Icons house, because I'm super
Hmm.
excited for it, but I'm very curious how. I feel like this would be probably the first year that they use a Icons house, right? Or I could be wrong.
Um, Not really, because I mean, like there was
25,
no 25, yeah.
2025, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and then uh, they did it, I think, for like Sweet 16, but it was a different version of that where like each icon had their own house. So
Yeah.
that was different, but I don't think that we've ever had like an actual house where all of them were all in there together.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually, like the one from 25 was just like the best scenes from all the past houses, but it wasn't featuring all of the same characters.
Yeah.
So it might be interesting to see all of the icons in one house together, like one right after the other.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that would be cool too. I definitely agree. So then with number 5, we are going to Welcome to Scary, the horror in the heartland, my bad. So I'm guessing this is a Scary Ohio house. I've been wanting a Scary Ohio house for like the longest time.
Yes.
So I'm really excited for this one. I'm wondering what kind of stuff we are going to be encountering. I know that they did have some Cary, Ohio inspired houses, but this is definitely something that it's more like literally it's the fan fiction I always wanted.
I mean, yeah, Cary, Ohio is literally like the MCU of Halloween Horror Nights. Because like everything takes place in Cary, Ohio.
Yeah, and I'm just
Because
like
I mean, you do have like Meats, like Leave It to Cleaver, like their factory was in Cary, Ohio.
still,
Um,
still traumatized, but it's literally my favorite house of
Forever
all.
traumatized, yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the other. Oh, the schoolhouse is in Cary, Ohio,
Yeah.
so that's where we can see Cindy come back.
Mhm.
What else? Like, pretty. I'm trying to. Oh, there's the
I know that
Cary
there was like
Drive-In,
some like paranormal investigation house.
like the Wyandotte Estate in Cary, Ohio. Like,
Yeah.
there's just so much HHN history around Cary, Ohio that like it makes sense to have a house for its 30th anniversary.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be one of my favorite houses, but that's just me when I go there. But we can only judge until like the event finally comes around,
Mhm.
I know that I tend to usually like a lot of the Howling Hornet original houses over the IPs, but the IPs can be just as good. But I think that's might be one of my favorite houses that they might have announced. So
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. Like that is, if it is going to be an actual house, I think that's going to be one of my most anticipated for sure.
yeah, mind you guys, not announced. I did. I know. I realized that I said that they announced these houses. Not yet. These are a speculation map, but hopefully another one drops before. Of course, they start announcing more houses. So mind you that this is unofficial. These are just speculations. Things that
Correct.
may or may not happen, but as we keep going to number six, it is the Wicked Growth Realm of the Pumpkin. So I'm guessing this is a Pumpkin Lord house. That's just
Yes. Like I'm expecting a sequel to that scare zone that we had in Central Park. Was it? I think it was 2 years ago for
Twisted
18 or 19.
Tradition, or was it something else?
It was the same. It was in that same area where we had Trick or Treat. It was between Trick or Treat and Vikings Undead. So it was that
Twisted.
1 year. Twisted Traditions. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. So
So it'd be cool
I
to see like a sequel
around there
house to
too.
that.
I'm expecting that this might be a continuation of that story or a more elaborate version
Mhm.
of that story, if not more. But if it's something completely different, I'm thinking Pumpkin Lord meets Scarecrow, the
Oh
Reaping,
god.
that
Oh
kind
god.
of thing. So,
Oh
Scarecrow
god.
is intense, but I definitely love that house so much.
Yeah. So like if that happens, that'd be really cool. I just hope that it doesn't take too much inspiration from Scarecrow, because otherwise it just feels like a knockoff of Scarecrow.
Yeah,
Like I want to see it kind of do its own thing.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it might just be its own thing.
Yeah.
It's my. I feel like when I think of the title, I mean, I'm just basing off titles because I don't know anything about the storyline just yet. I'm thinking, a pumpkin lord having like all these minions because it's wicked growth, like have vines and people being
Mhm.
tortured and all that kind of Halloweeny stuff. Almost like yeah, I think what was Twisted Tradition, the one with the girl coming out of the pumpkin or sleeping on the pumpkin, not sleeping, but
Yeah.
like dead.
Yes. Yes. That
Yeah, that's what
was
I'm
that was Twisted
expecting.
Traditions. Yeah.
That's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm thinking of
Yeah.
when
Like
expecting this house.
just like horror around the actual fall season would be amazing.
Yeah, I think so too. So this one is so far probably not the only one. This is one of the first announcements that we got officially last year is Puppet Theater Captain Audience. So it's already been announced. We already see early previews of that house where we have like a theater, almost like a Shakespearean type of opera house theater, and we have like all these puppets and I'm guessing humans that have been turned into puppets, but I
That's
could
what I'm
be
thinking
wrong.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, so and they have revealed that it's just gonna be like a lot of very theatrical, very, and I'm seeing a little bit of a pattern here where a lot of these houses are going to have masks and it's kind of a given. So, like
Yeah.
masks that being able to cover like the scare actor's mouth, not take away from the experience. But this is definitely one of them that it's definitely innovative and it works.
Yeah. I mean, and based on like the little preview video that they had shown, um, the theming of it looks really interesting too.
Yeah. It's just like even the set design and like the costumes are like super elaborate and
Hmm.
it looks super creepy too. I'm just thinking like a little bit of like Five Nights at Freddy's, but then it's like make it horror and Dead Silence too. I
Okay,
forgot about
it's
that.
funny. I was thinking something like Dollhouse of the Damned, but instead of dolls, it's puppets.
Ooh, that would be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah, it's pretty
and
official.
random thing that I would love to just see at one point in that house. You know how they had like Clownzilla and like the big like meat Demogorgon,
Yeah.
like these big props. I would love to see like a giant pair of like hands holding like puppeteer strings.
Yeah, that would be so
That
cool.
would be awesome because that way, like he's controlling all these puppets, like these giant hands. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, that's
it's
creepy.
captive audience for a reason. So I definitely think
Yeah.
that it would definitely add on to the show. If not, if kind of like a really big puppet, like overtowering, and then they're
Oh yeah.
controlling us, or like having like these puppets, like these mannequin puppets, like dance around, and all you see is
Hmm.
like those little sticks moving, and
Oh yeah.
it's gonna be so freaking cool. I'm super excited for Puppet Theater. It's probably the most official one that we've gotten since the one that we're gonna mention after this one. But yeah, our next one is gonna be The Haunting of Hill House. This hasn't left the list yet. For me, I personally, I think I also said this in my video that I released earlier this year, talking about the speculation map. That I am not a big fan of Haunting of Hill House. I am more of Bly Manor, but I know that Bly Manor is like public domain. The story around Bly Manor, by the way, not actual Bly Manor, but with the Haunting of Hill House, that this is still on the list. It still seems to be holding out strong. I'm guessing for the synergy of trying to get the young people out into the event. So, but I get it. I get the energy of it. But I feel like they're just going to use a lot of iconic scenes to be able to put this house together, if you know what I mean.
Mhm. Yeah, I think when it comes to haunting, though, I think this might actually be like the house that I'm least excited for, just because like I was not really that big a fan of Haunting of Hill House. Like, it's a good show. I just don't see how it would translate that well into a house.
Yep.
Like,
Lisa,
that's
you
my
and me are
biggest
there. You
issue.
and me are there. I'm glad. That's the energy I wanted. I mean, that's kind of bad because I know that there's real people that are really excited for this house, but there's just like it's just a very talk heavy show, and
There's not a lot of like visual scares that would translate well into a house.
yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of scary scenes where like, iconic that have like the dark scenes where like the kids are asleep or you see the shadows in the background. Bent neck lady, the scene where the two sisters are fighting and then that one of the sisters like dead uh sisters. They're all siblings. There's like a lot of them, and it comes out in the middle of the sea, and it scares them off the road. That kind of thing. Then there's like the dark past. They're gonna have to really heavily like focus on the iconic scenes, like more than the actual story itself, because Haunting a Hill House was not that super scary to me. I feel like if they were to bring Haunting of Hill House back, they might pull something kind of similar to American Horror Story, because since Bly Manor did also come out last year, they might try and fit both.
It's possible. I still haven't seen Blind Manor yet, so I need to catch up on that.
Yeah, so have you watched the movie The Turning?
That's the one with Finn Wolfhard, right? Kid from Stranger Things.
Yes.
I have not, but I've heard the soundtrack for it because I just like the soundtrack.
So, basically, Haunting of Bly Manor and The Turning are the same story.
Oh,
So,
okay.
uh,
That's just it.
if you decide to watch either of them, I mean, I personally liked Bly Manor more than The Turning, but The Turning
Yeah, I'll
is
probably
the
watch
story.
both just because I've heard The Turning has a pretty low score on Rotten Tomatoes, so I'm like, that's a good sign.
Yeah, but the story is actually public domain, so
Oh, that's good.
yeah, which is why I feel like they came out on the same year, if not like maybe a year apart. So if Haunting of Hill House does come back, it's I feel like it's mostly going to be considered like they're going to be focusing on the iconic scenes, on the actual scary scenes rather than the whole story itself. I'm least excited for this house, but you know that's just me, and also
Yeah.
Yusuf as well. I'm guessing.
But What is our next?
Our second house that has been announced officially is Beetlejuice. Of course, this was actually announced this year, but Universal kind of did a sneaky sneak last year, and they opened up the house, as a surprise, as they say, for
Yep.
Halloween on October 31st and November 1st. So you had to have like a reservation system for you to be able to experience the Beetlejuice house. Of course, with lots of plexiglass, a lot of missing details, but of course, a lot of like good scares and a lot of good detail as well. I was fortunate enough to experience it the second day it was open. I know that I had a couple friends of hours that went more than like twice, but I was able to experience it twice, and it was freaking baller. Were
Yeah,
you able to experience it last
I
year?
actually was not able to. No, I was. Of course, I got to experience everything, but when then they opened those, I was working both of those days, so I could not even go out to Universal.
Okay, so I,
So I
I
got to
thought you were there for
experience.
some odd reason. That's
No,
interesting.
I think I was there in spirit because I was like, I wish I was there.
Yeah, oh my god, it was so good. I mean, you could tell that in the Beetlejuice house, there was a lot of missing details. Especially the iconic dining room, banana boat scene.
Well, let's
Just
not
a
even talk
lot.
about it because I don't want to know. I know like a bunch of people posted like videos of it and like POV videos. I'm like, nope, nope. I want to go in there not knowing anything about it. I
Yeah.
want to stay that way.
Well, there was just a lot of missing details in that room anyway. So
Mm,
like, it's not like anything was gonna, there's nothing more. I don't know what's supposed to be in that room, but if
that's
there is something supposed to be there, like I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like amazing. Um, you know, but it still delivered the story pretty well, especially with all of the scenes from the movie. But if you guys were fortunate enough to experience Beetlejuice, you know what I'm talking about. But if not, you guys are going to love this house. It's going to be amazing. And I cannot wait for to just do this house again and for all of you guys to experience it as well.
yeah. I'm really excited to go to this. Uh, like the moment that we started getting Beetlejuice merch last year, I was like, oh okay, this is gonna be great. And then when they finally confirmed it, I'm like, it's about time. Like you guys
Yeah.
have had Beetlejuice running wild in your park for God knows how many years, and now you decide to give him a house.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help that they got rid of Beetlejuice Graveyard Review.
That is very true. Forever rest in peace.
Sorry. Yo, I was so obsessed. That show was everything. I was very obsessed with the Wolf Man,
Oh,
more
I
than I
know you
should
were.
have. Unhealthy. I still have dreams of that man. I don't know who he was, but he was gorgeous. Anyway, irrelevant, guys. Sorry, that was kind of creepy, but eh. He was literally like everything every time I went to Universal.
And now for something completely different.
Yeah. So we are going to be talking about our last house and speculation. It is Creep Show. Of course, as you guys know, that this is based off the Tales of the Crypt series, or no, a movie.
Okay, so yeah, that's where I'm not completely sure because there's a movie, there's two movies in the Creep Show like series that
Yeah.
came out in the '80s, and then there was the new Creep Show series on Shudder. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure where they're going to be pulling from, if they're going to be pulling from the movies or the show. I'm kind
Mm,
of hoping they do it from both.
yeah. I mean, for
Because
me,
Creepshow in itself is an anthology series, and it was an anthology movie. So like
yeah.
it was just like a seven, like 3 or 4 stories per movie, something like that. So like it lends itself to several different scenes house-wise.
Yeah. Um, the thing about this speculation is that I get it. It's kind of like an homage to like when they first started out, like in Howling Horror Nights, and they actually had like um some of the characters from Tales from the Crypt and Howling Horror Nights. But at the same time, when I think of Creepshow, if they were to grab from the more modern version of it, is that like when did Universal actually get like some kind of partnership with Shudder if they're working so closely with Netflix, you know?
Mhm.
That's the first thing that goes to my head because I mean, not that Netflix would have anything against Shudder because Shudder is just mainly on horror, but and it's not really a threat when it comes to the large variety that
Yeah.
Netflix is. But I don't know how that would compete with like contracting because they usually just have one company that they work with at Howling Horror Nights, and I've never just heard of like two.
They do it occasionally. Like, I mean, they did it. If let's say, for example, this spec map is completely accurate, they will be working with three different companies in this case because Texas Chainsaw is owned by New Line Cinema,
Okay.
Haunting of Hill House is Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
and then you would get Creepshow with Shudder if they're doing the show.
Yeah.
So that'll be three different companies. Of course, that is if it's like 100% accurate for this spec map.
Yeah. I mean, it's only the first speculation map, and they haven't through like Howling Horror Nightmares has not released another speculation map, but we will see. I know that one has been floating around for a while. If not a house, I think more of a scare zone would be more appropriate. But that's just
Yeah.
me.
I think I see it from the point of view of like it's one of those cult classics, like similar to Killer Clowns, where it's not a super well known property, but it's got a really big following among the horror community. So that's where I think it could draw from.
Hmm. So that was all of the houses. I think we're gonna go briefly through the scare zones.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
So in the first scare zone is a 30th anniversary zone. I'm gonna assume this is very similar to what we saw in Halloween Horror Nights 20. If you guys remember that house, it was actually hosted near the Hollywood Boulevard little hallway thing there, and they actually had like two really big X's to represent the 20th anniversary, which they premiered Fear. So I'm going to assume that the 30th anniversary will be somewhere along the lines of the same thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm probably thinking the same thing there. The only thing I would say is based on the map that we're looking at, I would flip that and put it back on Hollywood Boulevard because it's such a much bigger space that they can play with in terms of having the characters like walk around a little bit more, interact with people a little bit more because that little section between Minions and Shrek is a little tight.
Yeah, I know. And I feel like the scare actors, especially if they're dressing up as our favorite iconic characters, it'd be hard for them to get by without, being bombarded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I find it almost every year that they've had a scare zone there. I find it difficult in terms of like scare actors walking around interacting with people because, like, I mean, look at Anarcade.
Yeah.
Anarcade was kind of a hot mess.
Yeah, but it was crazy is that Anarchy it was a hot mess. I mean, I kind of had my thoughts on it, where like the costumes were a little bit cheaply made, slapped on a little bit
Yeah,
last
like
minute.
it literally felt
And
like the Purge costumes, but with neon on them.
what's crazy is that I think I was with Yussef, and I was sitting on the sidewalk, and I just stared at their costumes, and you saw like literal drawn on paint onto their little
Oh
button
yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. I
And I was
remember
like,
that. Yeah,
whoa. I mean, I know that a lot of people actually enjoyed that scare zone as it is because it's supposed to be retro 80s video games, that kind
yeah.
of thing.
Because
But
the theme and the idea were cool, but the costume and the execution was where it was lacking.
I feel like they had something else planned, but it just didn't work.
Yeah, because
It's like, oh, we gotta do something.
you could tell it was literally the same costumes from the Purge scare zone, just repurposed.
Yeah, it was a little messy, but
Yeah,
but people
it's,
like that scare zone, and that's what matters, I guess.
Yeah.
So the next one is an original. Honestly, I don't know what this could be, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be great.
It
So
would be cool to see some of the other like non-icon characters,
yeah.
like something like the collectors, like the body collectors would be cool.
Oh man, that would be cool.
Somebody like the Meats mascot.
Oh god,
See, like
we
those
love Nightmare.
those other lesser known Horror Nights mini icons, I guess,
Yeah,
or even like like characters from past houses, like even some of the Nightingales would be cool.
yeah.
Some of
I
like
mean,
the Dogs of War from like the Havoc houses would be cool, stuff like that.
yeah. So you're basically saying anything that's iconic, but within the past 10 years.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I wish they had another like vamp scare zone, but that's just me. I'm literally a sucker for vamp. But Vanity Ball was just as good. I can't complain.
Vanity Ball was a great time.
Yeah. So then the next one is a little bit contradicting and a little iffy because we had Creep Show the house, but now we have Creep Show the scare zone. I don't know how I feel about this, but I do feel like they should test out the waters first with Creep Show coming back and make it a scare zone rather than a house first, but I could be
Hmm.
wrong.
Yeah, and like based on the location on the map, it's a little bit weird. Like I would understand if it was like in front of the entrance to the Creepshow house. It's like like a sneak peek as like at the characters that were gonna be in there. But
Hmm.
location wise, it's like across the lake from the entrance to the house.
Yeah, so it's a little bit far and a little far, and the fact that it's like right next to like Fast and Furious. Like, do you really want to put that there? Do you really want to put that there? But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're gonna if Creepshow's on there twice, then it has to be one of those. But I feel like it would fit more as a scare zone rather than a house at the moment.
Hmm.
But that's just me personally. Um, so the next one is something that I've been wanting to experience because I was not able to go the year of the storyteller, but it is Terra Cruentus. We already know the story of the Terra Queen. She comes back around every certain amount of years. So it would be cool to actually see the scare zone come back, again after, a certain amount of years. So
For sure, especially for both of us, because neither of us got to experience it. Like we kept reading about it, we would see the pictures, but we are like, man, this looks really cool. It was just a shame that either we never got to experience it or we were too young to experience it. Like who knows? Because I think I was like 9 or 10 when that happened.
yeah.
Like I didn't even live in Florida at the time, so I didn't even know about it at the time.
Yeah, for me, I think I might have just been too young for it. I know that my dad came during the first Carnival of Carnage, which I'm pretty sure was year 17 or year 18. But then my first year ever was 2009, which is nerds, and we kind of want to experience anything that we haven't experienced. So please bless
And
us,
like especially
Universal.
after I bought the Tora Correntis map from the tribute store, I was like the little poster. I'm like, you better let me be able to walk around with this map and like find the spots.
Yeah. So then the next one is, or the last scare zone rather, is the best of scare zones
Yeah,
mashup.
similar
So
to
I
what
have
I
a
was
little
talking
bit
about
of,
earlier.
yeah, you kind of talked something about a similar concept. I wouldn't know what this consists of, but I'm
So
pretty sure it has to
I feel
be
like in that
good.
case, it would be the stuff that we've seen in other scare zones. Like here, it would just be like a mix of stuff. So that's where you would get the people from Vanity Ball, the Bamps, the maybe the children in the schoolhouse, like the stuff that was just a scare zone and never
Yeah,
made it up to a house, like that kind of stuff.
yeah. Oh man, my dream is to have a vamp everything house, but that's just me.
Just call it Bamp
But
Century.
oh please, I just want all of that. But I think for sure that I agree with you, Seth. It might be like everything from Vanity Ball, Vamp,
Even like the Bloody
the
Mary
Scary
meetings.
Tales Scare Zone, I think it
Yeah,
was. I forgot. Anything from that was iconic that a lot of people still remember from all the scare zones that we have ever
like
had.
Walking Dead.
Oh, don't even. We're not talking about Walking Dead. Walking Dead is dead, literally. Um, so then we're just briefly shows fountain show. I'm guessing they're gonna do something marathon of mayhem. Do a little nice little thing for us.
Mhm.
30th anniversary. Um, I haven't heard anything that might replace Academy of Villains.
Yeah, neither have
Or if
I.
they're even planning on doing a show like that.
Yeah, especially like this year, it might be tough. Maybe they won't even do them, considering that like the Fear Factor Stadium on the map they put in as a U rest area.
Yeah.
So like it might not even, of course, based on the spec map, it might not even be a thing this year. We might not even get a show at all, except for
Yeah.
maybe the Fountain Show.
Yeah, I agree so too. But if they decide to, you know what I did hear? I did hear maybe something along the lines of a Beetlejuice kind of like graveyard review type of show.
Ooh, ooh, I am
Um,
down. If that is the case, I want to see that several
yeah.
times.
Because I feel like Beetlejuice will be like the polar again of everything. I'm very worried. My only thing about this year is that I'm very worried that Beetlejuice would be overshadowing the icons because he's also such an icon, to be fair.
Mhm.
But
How funny would it be if like the whole story is him trying to prove himself and just like trying to become an icon, but obviously like they don't give a shit about him.
yeah.
They're just like he's like a little kid in the playground that's like super annoying, and they're just like screw off.
Yeah, oh my god.
Like how funny would that be though?
It would be fun though. But that's just little things that I've been hearing here and there, nothing official.
Hmm.
But for now, it's just a fountain show. Nothing to replace Academy of Villains. Seems like Fear Factor is only used as a U.S. area, so we're still left in the dark of any secondary entertainment for now.
I'm surprised. Well, no, maybe not necessarily surprised, but I'm curious to know why. Because I know this was on a couple of the spec maps. Why Billie Eilish might have been taken out.
Why they had Billie Eilish taken out? Is that what you said?
Yeah, like because I know they had Billie Eilish on a couple of the spec maps, and then just randomly it got taken out. I'm wondering what might have caused that.
Because I heard because the the managers of Billie Eilish knew that her music was going to go a different direction, so it wasn't going to match the same energy that she's going to have now versus how she used to be.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And also, like the fact that they didn't want their name to be associated with that pandemic kind of thing.
Hmm.
So, because I know that Billie Eilish is a huge fan of the event, but like
Yeah.
it's just the fact that her music is taking a completely different turn, and we're not talking about like when we fall asleep, where do we go album. Like she's been taking a whole nother turn with her music now.
That
It's
is
no
true. Yeah, she's
longer
going in.
dark
Yeah, it
stuff.
seems like she's going in like a brighter, like kind of a lighter direction.
Yeah, so it'd be weird to like try and make a house based on something that she's moving away towards. And I'm guessing that she's just trying out different shades of the sunshine, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
hmm So yeah, I think we played a lot of catch up just now. Lots of talking, lots of excitement. Hopefully, we hear more since it is April and we are officially halfway. Well, April now, but once this episode comes out, we're already in May. But literally, we are halfway to Halloween. It is the halfway
Oh my
point
gosh, it's
tomorrow.
finally
So
happening again.
it's the halfway point.
So it's so exciting.
Yeah, I am too. I'm so excited. Halloween is definitely my favorite time of year, and also like the time that I'm like usually the busiest because I go to lots of Halloween events, lots of haunts, lots of fun, lots and lots
Oh
of
yeah.
yeah. So yeah.
Oh man, we gotta plan another trip out to the place that we went to by Tampa with Chrissy and Jonathan.
Oh yeah, Morrow's Nightmare.
Oh, because Morrow's Nightmare was an experience. We need to go back in there.
Yeah. If you guys haven't seen our vlogs on YouTube, you should. You just
Yes.
hear me getting scared, and then you hear Yussef getting scared, and it's a good time.
Not
Uh,
only that, you get to hear me say "Oh my God" at least 25 times.
yeah. We're adrenaline junkies, especially for horror. So
Yep.
enjoy that if you guys want reference. But yeah, now that we played a bit of catch up, we should probably say where we can find our social. So for me, I am HHN Cultist on Twitter and on YouTube. I make vlogs based off of Howling Horror Nights. Mostly Howling Horror Nights and Universal, but I also do makeup inspired by the HHN icons or anything Howling Horror Nights related. So if you guys can give me a follow and a subscribe, that would be amazing. I know I've been also very behind on uploading some content, but I will be getting right back to that. So, where can we find you or us, Yusuf?
Sure. So for the actual podcast, you can find the actual podcast on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, and social wise, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We're also on YouTube. Hasn't been updated recently just because we have both been ridiculously busy, but
Absolutely.
I think we're gearing up to kind of get going again and be a little bit more consistent with what we're doing. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
definitely
and
agree.
my personal stuff, you can find me on Instagram at Yusef1220 and on Twitter at itbeyusef.
Yep. And so that was all of our socials. Give us a follow, interact with us.
Yeah,
And yeah, tell me what you guys are excited for this year's HHN. This could also include pizza fries because pizza fries are literally
yes,
the
because
bomb.
pizza fries.
Yeah. So yeah, guys. So I bid you guys all farewell, and have a great night. It is the halfway point to Halloween, so time to get excited, get that halfway, Halloween drinks and costume on because we're almost there, and also haunt season is right around the corner as well.
That is right. So get those costumes ready, get those Halloween themed ideas of yours ready, and get ready for some nightmares.
Absolutely, and also always stay tuned with us.
Yes, because we have more on the way. We promise.
All right, guys, have a good night. See ya.
Bye.